Hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Please ensure to like, share, and subscribe. And also click the bell notification in the top right-hand corner to be made aware anytime I upload tutorials or videos to YouTube. All right, let's craft together. Hey guys, so today I'm going to be showing you how to use the Deboss tool or the Deboss blade inside Cricut Design Space with your Cricut Maker. Now, unfortunately, the Deboss blade is not something that you can use with the Explore cutting machine. So this is only for Cricut Maker, the Cricut Maker. So I'm inside Cricut Design Space. I have a blank canvas. I'm going to make this a Father's Day greeting card. And so I'm going to use a phrase here from the left. So that's one of the good things about Cricut Design Space is they have pre-ready made phrases already out here. So depending on what the occasion is, so we're going to go to phrases here on the left. And then I'm looking for Father's Day, and you can see I've already played around with the search for Father's Day. But if you were looking for something for Mother's Day, you would just type in Mother's Day, and it would bring up, phrases already put together for Mother's Day. But we're going to leave it on Father's Day because it's Daddy's time. All right. And then you want to select a multi-layer phrase. They seem to work better with the Deboss. So you can go here to layers on the left and select multi, and then Cricut will give you only the multi-layer font, or phrases, the multi-layer phrases. So I'm going to go with everything I am, you help me to be. I like that one. So I'm going to click that and click on add to canvas in the bottom right corner. And the cardstock or the greeting card I'm working with is a 5x7. So I'm going to make this where I can center it on my cardstock. So I'm going to click this to unlock my proportions. And that way I can type in whatever I want the sizing to be. So I'm going to choose 4.5 by 6. Now, when you're working with the Deboss, you want to make sure that you have a duplicate copy of your image or text or whatever you're working with. So to get that duplicate, instead of duplicating this, what we're going to do is we're going to do an offset. And we're going to change this to 0.05. Okay. And then we're going to give the apply a chance here for Cricut to activate it for us. And as it's working, you'll be able to see the outline of your offset. Okay. So this is super, super thick, and I don't like it. So I don't know why Cricut has it super thick like that. So I'm going to see if it's going to change here in a minute. There we go. And then I'm going to click on apply. All right. So now we have our offset. So what you're going to do is just move it over. This is going to be your Deboss file, and this is going to be your cut file. So when you're doing Deboss, again, you want to duplicate the image or the text you're working with. One is going to be a cut file. This one is the cut. This is the Deboss file. So we're going to go up to operation, and we're going to click on that drop down arrow and change it to Deboss. And this one we're going to leave on cut. So the way this is going to work is that we're going to cut the file out first on cardstock. And it's better if you have a thicker cardstock like chipboard or craft board, because it'll help this to be a little bit more elevated when you get ready to deboss it. But we're going to cut this out first. Then we're going to lay our cardstock, our 5x7, on top of that cut file. And then we're going to have Cricut to deboss it. Now, unfortunately, you can't deboss and just deboss first. So you have to cut first, then you're going to unload your mat, put your cardstock on, and then reload the mat to do the deboss. So we'll walk through that. So at this point, we've done everything we need to do. We're going to go ahead and click Make It in the top right corner. And there was one thing, let me make sure it stayed together. And we're going to choose on mat because I'm using my mat for this. Yeah, there's one thing. When you have the multi-layers, you want to make sure that you attach it, because if you don't, it's gonna um, separate. So we're gonna cancel. That was the one thing I should have made sure I tell you to do. So here you can see we have a multi-layer. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just come down to the bottom and say attach, and that'll keep it together. Okay. So now we're gonna go to make it, and you're only doing that on the deboss file. You don't have to do it on the cut one. The cut one is already together. So next up, what we're going to do is we're going to, like I said, it wants to deboss first and then cut, but we need it to cut first and then deboss. And I might have said it the other way around, but Cricut wants to deboss first and then cut, and that's not what we want to do for this project. We want to cut first and then we're going to deboss. So you want to make sure you select basic cut, and you're going to go ahead and load your mat. Now what we're going to do, since my cardstock is 5x7, I want this to be centered. So when you look here, this is a 5x7 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So from the 5 to the 10, and then here's the 7 in height. So what I'm going to do is in between this 5 width and 7 height, I'm going to place my my cards or my image. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the deboss or the basic cut file. So I'm going to come and move this one as well. Deboss, I'm going to move that one over. And I want to get it as centered most as possible. So I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to click on the basic cut file, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to load our cardstock. And so I'm using craft board cardstock. It's a little bit thicker than your normal cardstock, which, like I said, works better because you want to have that little bit of a rise. So I'm going to bring myself up on the screen, and then we'll finish walking through the rest of the project together. All right, guys, so a couple of things I'm going to show you. This is the cardstock that I'm going to be using for the cut file. And then I saw this really cute envelope and greeting card sets at Michael's. They were like $6 and some change. It comes with 10 greeting cards and 10 envelopes. Of course, they're blank. And I thought they would be perfect to design on. The cards, the greeting cards are just single. So it's just a front and a back. Okay, so it's not the kind that you open up. And I thought this would be really cute to do the debossing on and then just slide it right into the envelope without having to worry about making an envelope and all that good stuff. All right, so there's 2 blades you're going to use for this project. The first one is your fine point blade, which everyone is pretty much familiar with. You cannot not be familiar with the fine point blade. But you have your fine point blade, and always make sure that you check your fine point blade to make sure it's still, pretty stick, has that stick to it, and that there's no materials left on here like vinyl or anything that will keep it from cutting like it should. And then we're also going to be using the deboss tool. Now the deboss tool, you can see it has just a little bit of a tip on it. So hopefully you guys can see that. It has just a little bit of tip. It's not very pronounced. Let me see if I hold it over that way, if you can see it better. I think you can see it better now. So you can see it has a little bit of a tip. And all of Cricut's blades are going to have a number on them. This one has the number 21. So I don't know if you guys can see that very good, but it has the number 21, on there. So you'll make sure that you're actually using the right blade, okay? So anytime you're doing a deboss project, Cricut is going to want to deboss first and then cut. But we needed to cut first and then deboss, okay? So in Cricut Design Space, you want to make sure that you click on the cut file or the basic cut first, and then you're going to select whatever material that you're using. So I'm going to put my material in here. So if you're using medium cardstock, heavy cardstock, craft board, chipboard, whatever you're using, make sure you select that as your material setting. So I have selected mine, and we're going to take and put our cardstock for our cut file on our mat. Now you want to make sure that you place this exactly where you placed your image on the mat inside Cricut Design Space. So we had it in between the 5 and the 10. So I'm going to take this cardstock and place it in between the 5 and the 10. And you want to make sure that it's large enough to go down to the 7. So 7 or larger. So here you can see where I have placed my cardstock. I didn't put it over here because that's not where my image is. Remember, I drug my image over, so that I can center it on my card, okay? So this is where you want to, if you're following what I'm doing, you want to make sure that you have it in the same place as the mat per Cricut. And then I'm just going to use my brayer. And all I'm doing is just making sure that my file, my cardstock is really stuck to my mat. Very important, okay? Very important. So if your mat is not sticky, you're going to end up with this cardstock sliding all over the place. Okay, so you want to make sure it's nice and stuck on there. Okay, once you do that, you're going to go ahead and load your mat in. And again, we're cutting first. So you want to make sure cutting is the one that's selected. And then we're going to go ahead and have Cricut to, oh, I didn't even put my blade in. Cricut is not going to cut because there is no blade in that machine. So I'm going to put my blade in. Cricut is one smart puppy. Okay, give me 1 second. All right. Okay, so I have it on my basic cut. I'm clicking continue, selecting my cardstock that I'm using. All right, now, so you want to make sure you have your fine point blade in clamp B. There should be nothing in clamp A. And you want to make sure that you have enough cardstock in the area on your mat to where your image is, okay? All right, so Cricut is going to cut this file out for us first. And that should not take long. Now again, this project is for Cricut Maker cutting machines only. One of the things that Cricut does mention is that when you're using the debossing blade, is that sometimes the wheel will spin. Don't panic, it's nothing wrong. That's the way the blade operates. Okay, so don't try to unload it and see what's going on with the blade. If it spins for a second, it's totally fine. It's totally normal. All right, so we're at 41% on the cut. And sometimes I'll say we're at this percentage, and then before I can finish, it's at 100% because this thing is really moving. So once this is done, we're then going to weed it like we would vinyl, okay? Because we want to leave the cut file stuck to the mat, okay? Very important. That's why I say your mat must be very sticky. Do not try this with a mat that has no stickiness to it. And one of the things that I use to clean my mat, guys, is I use the Glade Power Wash, which has worked wonders for me. But people have different methods on what they tell you to use to clean your blade. So, not your blade, but your mat. All right, we're at 74%. All righty. I'm going to grab my weeding tool just in case I need it. And we're done with the cut. So at this point, you're going to go ahead and unload your mat. Okay. So we're going to unload our mat. And we're going to be pulling away the excess, what we don't need, but we want our image to stay down. So I'm going to pull away the excess. And you want to make sure that you pull out any of the little bits on the inside of the letters. You want to pull those out. So give me a minute. I'm going to take those out. I'm just going to use my weeding tool to kind of help me speed it up. But you want to leave you want the image to stay down on the mat. So this is not where you have to use any transfer tape to lift up the cut file. No, we need this to finish up with the deboss part of it. It seems like it's like a lengthy process, but it's really not. It's only taking long because I'm trying to explain it to you as I'm going. And I chose a file that has a lot of the little bits in the center. But they're coming up pretty quickly. And I will show you in just 1 second. Let me get everything out. And we got about 2 or 3 more, and we'll be done. All right, I think I got them all. Put them on my light just to double check. And yeah, got it all. All right, so this is the file, and you're gonna leave this on your mat, okay? Then you're gonna take out your fine point blade. We're gonna remove our fine point blade, and we're gonna put back in the deboss blade. Just that easy. And once you get the deboss blade in, then you're going to take your greeting card. Got my greeting card, and I'm going to place it right over from that 5 mark over to the 10 mark. Just like that, I'm going to place it directly on top of my cut file. And that's what you want to do. You're going to put it right on top, just like that. Then I'm going to use my brayer, my Cricut brayer, and I'm just going to use that to help hold my greeting card down. And I'll probably use a couple of little pieces of tape here just to help it out. Let me see what I did with my tape. just to help it out, because you don't want this to move. Okay, so even though my mat is sticky, it has it has that little bit of rise in there from the cut file underneath it. So I'm just adding a couple of pieces of tape to help hold it down. Hold it down. You need it to be held down. You just want it to be held down. That's it. All right, so now you can see I have my greeting card on top of the cut file. The cut file is underneath this. That's what's going to help to give it that little pronounced, upward type look for your deboss to look really nice. Okay, so those are just some of my little bits that didn't come up and off. Okay, so now I have my deboss blade in. I'm going to load this and let it do its thing on the deboss side. So now Cricut is ready to deboss this. Remember I said Cricut wants to deboss first and then cut, but we're going to cut first and then deboss. And it's off. And it's pretty fast, guys. It doesn't take a long time. This is a project that you can do if you forgot to make somebody a greeting card. It's something that you could do the day of, and it's not going to take a lot of time. I think the biggest time that it takes when it comes to greeting card is trying to figure out what image you want to use, and thank God Cricut came up with some phrases that we can use, these ready-made phrases, because sometimes you spend time trying to figure out what to say. So having the ready-made phrases out there is really nice. I just got my hand on my greeting card because I don't want no issues. I don't want no problems. And for those of you that have been using your cutting machines for a long time, you know what I mean. You be thinking the project going just fine, and then all of a sudden that card stock start moving around on that mat. No, ma'am, we're not doing that today. All right, we're at 38% of the deboss complete. And the good thing about this, guys, is let's say you needed to make like 10 of these same deboss cards, or cards using this deboss with that same image file. All you have to do is take the greeting card off, place the next greeting card right back on top of that cut file, and deboss. You don't have to cut all over again because your file is already cut for you. All you need to do is to do the deboss on the next greeting card, okay? So that's some good information to know for those of you that may be in the practice of selling your products, and you have to make more than one. Then you don't have to cut 10 different times. You only have to cut 10 times if you have 10 different files, okay? Image files. But if it's just one file, you're golden on that first cut. And after that is deboss, 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 because I'm the boss. All right, we're at 76%. And I thought these colors were really nice, considering it's coming up Father's Day. And I want to use some fruity colors like pinks and yellows and stuff like that. So I wanted to get something that's more appropriate for fathers. I thought about black because they had some black ones in there, but I was like, that may be a little bit hard to see on using the deboss method. So I might get adventurous one day and see what the black will look like. All right, so it is done. I'm gonna go ahead and unload my mat, and it turned out beautiful, guys. Look at that. Hopefully you guys can see it. I'm gonna try to see if the light will help. Maybe not. The light might have made it worse. All right, so I'm just gonna take this off and see if I can hold it up where you can see it. Be careful with taking that tape off so I don't mess up my little card. But I'm going to show you here. Again, your cut file is still underneath here, still intact and everything. Cut file is still sitting there, okay? And now here is your card, and it has been debossed. So hopefully you guys can, I don't know if you guys can see that really good, but it has been oh, I got it upside down. I had it upside down. I apologize. All right. But that is it, guys. And you can fill it on top of the card and everything. It looks really nice. And at this point, all you need to do is just take your envelope that came with the set and place your greeting card right in that envelope. And you would be all done. Just like that. And then you could take Cricut, you could put the envelope actually in your Cricut and have it to draw, you know, to my dad, or put your dad's name or whatever on there, and you'd be good to go with a Father's Day card. I think the colors, like I said, are appropriate for Father's Day, you know, and it's just that easy. It is just that easy. And I am so hoping, I'm gonna move it over that way, that you guys can tell that it is there. Now, the other day I did another one, but I used the new monogram maker in Cricut Design Space, and I actually did the deboss on this foil cardstock, which I think turned out really, really pretty. Okay. And I actually used a full 8.5 by 11. I centered it so that I could then open it up and put any writing that I wanted to on the inside. Okay. So you could do it this way, where you can have it where you can add some writing on the inside, or you can do it where you have the single card and you just have whatever on the front of it. Okay. So hopefully you guys can see it. It is not just a blank greeting card, but it's just hard to see it, you know. It's just hard to see it like that. Let's see if I turn the light off. Turn the lights off, if you guys can see it better now. Hopefully you guys can see it. I think you can see it. Okay. But that is how you do the deboss. Okay. Everything I am, you helped me to be. How sweet is that, guys? That is so sweet. All right. So all you would need to do, if you wanted Cricut to put or write something on here, all you would need to do is to line this up exactly where you want it. So if you started here in the top corner, then you will want to make sure that in Cricut Design Space, you have your text, you know, in the same place. And then use a pen, a Cricut pen, or Cricut marker, or whatever, and have it to draw, you know, the name on there for you. And that way you don't have to, you know, worry about handwriting it. And if you had another card that you needed to do using the same cut file, all you would need to do is just take your next piece of greeting card, just pop that out. You will pop that greeting card out, place it right back in the same spot, 5 to 10, between the 5 and the 10, just like that. Load it into your mat and deboss your next card. Okay, you're not going to start all over with cutting and laying it where you need it on the mat, because all that's been done. All that's been done. All you need to do is deboss that next card. So hopefully, like I said, you guys can see this. I want to make sure I got it going in the right direction for you. You can see the difference between that blank card and the one that has now been debossed. And you can even see it on the back. Okay, so you can tell that it totally did it. Now, I didn't put it on more pressure. You can attempt to do more pressure, but to me, the default was enough. But if you feel like you're not getting enough deboss in there, then you can use more pressure. Okay, you can use more pressure, but I think this turned out perfectly. Okay. All right, guys, that's it. That is how you use the Deboss. Again, it is for Cricut makers only, not for the Explorer. Okay. Um, it's been so long since I bought my tip. I probably paid about $5, $15, $15 to $20 for that tip. I always wait till Amazon has a sale on their Cricut tips, Cricut blade tips, and then I go in and order them. So I never pay $40 and $50 for my tips. Like when you go into Michael's and Joann's and Hobby Lobby, and their prices are sometimes crazy for the blades. I always wait until Amazon has a sale on the tips that I can just use with my quick swap housing, and then I go ahead and I purchase my tips that way. So that is a way that you might want to acquire blades, is by constantly checking Amazon and only get them when they're like $14 and $15. That's the only time I buy them. I never pay those crazy prices. And like I said, with the quick swap housing, right now, if I wanted to use a different blade, I would just push down on this centerpiece right here, push that down. And you see how the tip came off? The tip comes off. And then if I had a different blade, I would take that blade. So this one is my perforation. And all I would do is pop that one on. So you can see now I have the perforation blade on there. And the good thing about the quick swap housing is, like I said, you'll pay that $40 or $50 the first time for the quick swap housing. But once you pay it that one time, then you don't have to buy another one of these. Okay. You just need the tips going forward. Okay. So don't get in the habit of purchasing a whole bunch of the blades like this, because you can see this one, you can't push down on it. This one right here is this one right here is this is the only way you can use this blade, just like this. You can't take this tip off and put another tip on. Okay. But the quick swap housing, you'll know that it's the quick swap housing because it's going to have a little button on that top that you can push in. You just push that button down and put your other blade on. Okay. So that's it, guys, for today. Um, Earlier, I did a tutorial on the monogram maker for Cricut Access. So if you have Cricut Access, check out that video tutorial. Even if you don't have Cricut Access, I showed you a way that you could take a snippet of the monogram logo or monogram and then take it into another software program and still use it. So even if you don't have the Cricut Access, you can still make a project without it. I don't know if Cricut Access want me to tell y'all that, but I just did. So that is. We all try to save money around here, Cricut. I'm sorry. But anyway, that's my story, guys. I'm sticking to it. Like I said, go ahead after you create your greeting card, go ahead and stick it in your envelope. Use Cricut to put the name or whatever on the outside of the greeting card, and you are good to go. But guys, really check out this card stock, because I don't know if you guys can really see it. It has like a little bit of a glare to it, but it is so pretty in person. Okay. It is so pretty. And they had so many different colors. So I know they had black. They had, of course, like the white. They had kind of like a paper bag brown color. But they had some really pretty colors. And the reason I'm saying that is because they had a lot of colors that you can work with for Father's Day. Okay. So if you're going to be making a lot of Father's Day cards, these perfect time to get these colors like this, because you know at Christmas time they'll start adding all those, other colors out there. But anyway, that's my story, guys. If you are currently subscribed to my YouTube channel, I want to thank you guys so much for supporting me via YouTube. If this is your first time seeing me and you like my method of teaching, I have over 300 tutorials on my YouTube channel. Then please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel and tell people about my channel. Please, please, please. I beg of thee. I beg of thee. And then if you're currently following me on Facebook, thank you guys so much for believing in me and allowing me to lead you when it comes to a Facebook craft group. And if you would like to join my group, it is a private group. It is a small group, but you learn lots and lots in my group. Trust me. And questions do not go unanswered. All right. The name of my Facebook group, because I know you want to know, is Candoris's Cricut and Creative Crafters. And I know it's a mouthful. I already know it. You don't have to put that in the comments. I already know. Candoris's Cricut and Creative Crafter. So send me a Facebook group request and we'll get you added to the group. Like I said, check out my YouTube channel and check out the playlist, and you'll see how I have my tutorials broken down into subcategories. And I have over 300 video tutorials on all types of crafting projects. Okay. You think of it, it's probably a tutorial out there on it. All right. All right, guys, that is it. And that is all on how to use the Deboss blade in using your Cricut Maker. All right. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. And you guys know my motto is each one reach one so that each one can teach one. And you guys have a good day. Bye.